Many entrepreneurs have been told that visibility equals volume, right? We've been given the advice that to grow your business, you need to be visible, which makes sense because if people don't know what you do, if they don't know who you are, what you do, then they cannot purchase from you. They cannot connect with you because they don't know about you, right? So it makes sense that being visible will equate to sales. But what most of us have done is that when we hear visibility, we translate that to mean volume, which means showing up in all the places, doing all the things. And we take the advice and we run with it because we are serious about our businesses, right? We actually want to grow. So, if this is what's been happening with you, if you've been feeling like visibility is about volume, it's about showing up in all the places, but it's burning your energy, like you're burning the candle at both ends, you're, ooh, eating up all the energy, right? And it's just all concentrated on just trying to show up. You're not alone. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's not just you. If you're doing all the right things, if you're posting daily and you're jumping on every new app because every time someone comes along and you're like, hey, there's this new thing, right? There's this new app, there's this new version, there's this new thing. Like let's do, and you're just jumping on every trend because you're hoping that maybe the next thing is where you'll get seen, or maybe the next thing is where you're gonna blow up because everybody else is blowing up there. I get it. You're not alone. But volume is not what visibility means. Showing up in all the places is just using up all of your energy and it's leaving you burnt out, but it's not aligning you with your business goals and it's not aligning you with your audience just by being everywhere. So today we're going to unpack what visibility means when it's not volume. Okay, so um, yes, visibility is being seen, but it's not about being seen everywhere. So let's actually unpack what visibility means. And the word visibility just does not want to come out today. It's coming out crooked. I don't know what a crooked word means, but that's what it sounds like to me right now. Anyway, um, let's unpack. Um, I like to take things off the online space, bring them into brick and mortar businesses because they've been around for a while. And then we can actually unpack what's happening in the brick and mortar space and then how we can transfer that to the online space so that we can actually build a business that lasts, build a business that will outlast you, that will go on for generations, that will live beyond you, a legacy business, right? A sustainable business, a business that will actually bring you profit, be sustainable and last longer than you, right? Like I'm all about legacy. So, brick and mortar space. Think about a new local yoga studio, right? And if you see me playing with my hands, it helps me stay focused, right? It keeps my brain like right here. Okay, so imagine a new local yoga studio, right? If at launch they decide that they are going to offer hot yoga, prenatal yoga, power yoga, like dance, fitness, everything, right? They're offering 18 different classes all at once, right? And they are launching and they are running with 18 different classes and they have six instructors and all of that. At launch, they are probably going to be stretched too thin. Their instructors will get overwhelmed, overworked, and the quality dips before they've even proved themselves. The students leave because they're confused and they are putting in so much effort to promote all these different things without focusing on one specific target audience. So what happens is they maybe put up prenatal yoga and they have like two people sign up, and then they put up power yoga and they have like five people sign up. whereas they need to have at least 10 people to run a class, right? So you're promoting 18 different classes. You're using that's ad spend for 18 different classes. That's 18 different ads, but you've only got two people here and five people here and seven people here, but never enough people for one class. Or maybe you do get enough people for one class, but you're running 18 classes. And that is exhausting both for the business, but also for the attendees who are confused because, hey, I signed up for prenatal yoga and either it's not running or there's just two of us, which fun if you get to have like the one-on-one time, but it's expensive for this for the it's expensive for the studio and it is difficult for the instructor because I remember signing up for some morning yoga class, right? And it was like at 6 a.m. in the morning and there were usually like three of us, right? And it was not quite just yoga. It was like in the pool. So you would like be on a floaty mat and it was really fun, but there were like three of us, right? And so the instructor, who is also running like several other programs during the day, would um it's frustrating for them because they're at the pool at 6 in the morning and there's just two people, right? And if one of us doesn't show up for whatever reason, then there's one person or no people, right? Like one time, both me and the other lady who had taken the class had like life happened, right? But it happened the same week. And so nobody showed up to the class that day, right? And so the next week when we came, I think I came and the other lady didn't come. And I was asking, so what did you guys cover in the last class? And the instructor was like, well, nobody showed up, right? They quickly canceled that class, right? But then, so as a new studio, if you are trying to do all the things while you're launching, right, like right at the beginning, it is exhausting, right? Um, think about Amazon. Like we know Amazon is this big thing that does all the things, sells all the things, and you can find basically anything that you're looking for on Amazon. But that is not where they started. They started as a bookstore, right? They started as a bookstore, they grew into an everything bookstore, and then they started layering on all the other things until finally they have grown into this really big thing that now is known by everyone in all the places and does all the things, right? Amazon is now your go-to or your first resource for anything and everything. You can probably find it on Amazon. Now, when it comes to your business, if you are spending hours on content creation, and yet it feels like no one's paying attention, if you're showing up in all the different places, it is exhausting for you to keep putting yourself out there and not seeing any return. It's exhausting to keep doing the same thing, but not having the results correlate to the effort that you're putting in. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. What is the problem, right? Is it that I'm not visible enough? Am I not showing up in all the places? What if the problem isn't that you're not visible enough, but rather that you're visible in the wrong places, right? What if the effort that you're putting in when you're trying to be on social media, like all the social media, so you're trying to be on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, and all the other apps that I don't even know about, and all the new ones that keep popping up, right? And also being on YouTube, having a blog, having a podcast, and you're trying to start with all those things, right? That is a lot, especially when you're starting out. Think of it like trying to juggle five balls at once, right? You're learning to juggle and you're trying to juggle five balls at once. If you start with five balls, it is highly likely that you will drop all the balls, right? But if you start with two, right, and all you do is practice like the back and forth, like just um um getting your brain, training your brain to understand what it feels like to not necessarily hold the two balls, but toss one up, move the other one before you catch the other one, like practice that skill of keeping one ball in the air while transferring, right? When you have that skill down pat, when you then add the third ball, now it's just adding, it's just transferring, it's learning how to make sure that you always have one or two balls in the air while transferring the other, like while transferring one ball to the other hand. And I feel like I'm explaining it in a way that really makes you see that I cannot juggle. I do not have the skill, right? Um, a different example. I have a friend who has twins, right? And then she had one child, then twins, and now she has a baby. And the gap, the jump from having one child to having three children without ever having two children is very different than for me who had one child and then a second child and then then a third child, right? So while in conversation we both have three kids, the fact that she jumped from one to three meant there were a lot of things that she had to navigate that I never had to navigate because I moved from one to having two and then had a third. Like I learned how to navigate two children who needed my attention before I had a third child. So I understood like um sharing my attention between three children in a way that she didn't because she moved from having one child with all of the attention to suddenly having three children, two children of two babies who needed her at in the exact same way. Does that make sense? So same thing when it comes to your business. If you are trying to do all the things in all the places, it's hard um to build the skill of showing up in all the spaces before you've mastered the skill of showing up in one or two places, right? Um, so what does this look like when it comes to your business, right? This looks like the coach who is posting reels on Instagram, lives in Facebook, maybe dabbling in TikTok, but it never feels consistent because you're jumping from one place to the next and you're not really building a cohesive story because you haven't even mastered building a cohesive story on one platform. So it starts to feel like a million puzzle pieces, right? Or it starts, in fact, a million puzzle pieces is not even what makes it crazy. It's having three different puzzles, right? And then throwing all those pieces into one pile and then trying to create one picture. That can be crazy, right? Or even worse, it's taking like a third of the pieces from puzzle one, a third of the pieces from puzzle two, and a third of the pieces from puzzle three, such that you have 500 pieces to build a puzzle, but you're not going to get a cohesive picture because it's pieces from three different pictures. Does that make sense? It could also look like you spending so much time creating content but not actually connecting with people because you're trying to create content for all these different platforms, right? You're trying to um, understand and beat the algorithm on all these different platforms. And the algorithm is not the same on each of those platforms. Like people who are on Pinterest and the way that the Pinterest algorithm works is entirely different from the way that the Facebook algorithm works, right? So if you're trying to win the Facebook algorithm and the Pinterest algorithm and the YouTube algorithm at the same time, like that is going to take up so much of your time that you end up with no time to actually talk to people, right? To actually do the things that actually move the business, like that actually move the needle in your business, act, oh, the money making activities. You're not doing those because you're spending so much time on the content creation side and on the beating the algorithm side, right? it can it can show up when you feel the pressure to jump on every trend, right? Reels come out and you're like, oh, okay, we're dancing now. Oh no, we're pointing now. Oh no, now we're talking. Oh, finally we can do faceless reels and I don't have to do this anymore. Oh snap, now we're back and we're doing this. Oh wait, now there's TikTok. Now there's Blue Sky. I don't even know what that is. And there's Threads and there's Twitter and now it's X and there's YouTube. Like there's all the things and they all have like different requirements and things that you need to learn and master about them. And everything's changing so fast and you're just trying to keep up. It's like swimming in a tide and just trying to keep your head above the water, right? It's a lot of pressure. It can feel like being burnt out from doing all the things because you're scared to stop, right? So, like maybe you've reached the point where you're seeing that, man, this is a lot and I'm tired and I'm burnt out, but I cannot stop because if I stop, then I lose the visibility. And so I keep going, even though I'm so drained. But when you're drained and you're trying to show up, your audience can feel that lack of emotion, that lack of energy, that lack of excitement. While you, on the other hand, are trying to push so that you keep this momentum, but you're keeping momentum in something that's no longer connecting with your audience because you've lost the drive, right? But then when you see somebody else blow up on a new platform, they're like, oh, maybe let me try that because maybe I will actually get the response that I need there because I'm not getting it here. And so then you jump onto a new platform because you saw somebody, blow up there. But like I had a coach who pointed out that there are so many people on Facebook. I don't remember what like the current stat is, but like maybe okay, I'm just gonna throw out a number because I really don't know the stats, right? So maybe there's like 4 billion people on Facebook. If there are 4 billion people on Facebook, or maybe even 2 billion, or maybe even 1 billion, if there are 1 billion people on Facebook and you are failing on Facebook to build momentum, what makes you think that you are going to win on this new app that has like 100,000 people? Like, what makes you think you're going to win with 100,000 people if you're failing to build any momentum where there are 2 billion people? Does that make sense? So, the idea that being visible means being everywhere needs to stop, right? Like, you need to stop and ask yourself, like, is this really the thing? So why is this a problem for entrepreneurs? Like, why is this a problem for us? A recent study done in 2025, when I'm recording this, right? They found that the number of touch points that you need to build trust, so to move somebody from never knowing you to actually wanting to purchase from you, has moved from the 7 to 10, from like the marketing rule of seven that used to say it takes 7 touch points to move somebody from like cold to close. It's moved up. Like it can be up to 50 touch points depending on your industry, depending on like the product that you're selling and all of that. But from cold to close, it's moved up to almost 50 touch points, right? And touch points is the number of times that you are showing up in someone's space, the number of times that they're interacting with you, with the idea of the thing that you are selling. So if you are a health coach and you are coming at health coaching from not necessarily, or maybe okay, so let's talk about something like the keto diet, right? So touch points is every time this person interacts with information about the keto diet, positive information, because there will be other coaches who are out there saying keto diet doesn't work, instead do the, I don't know, Mediterranean diet or whatever. And then there's other coaches who will be like, the diet is not the issue. Like, let's work out, right? So there's all the other information that they're interacting with about this topic, right? But you are talking about keto, right? So from cold, which means they know nothing about you, nothing about the topic, to close, which is when they're like, hey, I want to work with you on this thing. It takes 50 touch points, up to 50 touch points, positive touch points for them to move through that. And the more of those touch points are you, the more you move to the top of the list when it comes to who they pick to work with. Make sense? So, if your visibility is scattered, you're not building the breadcrumbs, like the breadcrumb trail to lead them to you. Think about the story of Hansel and Gretel and how they built like they left a breadcrumb trail to find their way back home. I don't know how the story ends. Did they even get home? Like, did Hansel and Gretel find their way home? Anywho, if instead of like leaving a breadcrumb trail, they had instead like scattered the breadcrumbs all over the place, like as they were walking down that path, they were throwing breadcrumbs this way and that way and this way and that way and not really building a path, right? Then would they have been able to find their way back home? When it comes to your content, You want your content to lead people to you, right? Your content is supposed to be doing the work of leading people to you, of moving people through the buyer journey so that they are closer to making a decision, and the decision that they're making is working with you. That is what your content is supposed to be doing. So if you don't have a strategy with your content, if you don't have a strategy with your content, if all you're doing is being visible everywhere, then yes, they're seeing you, but they're not seeing how you benefit them, right? They're not seeing how um, interacting with you is a win for them. They're not seeing how um, they they're not seeing how interacting with you or working with you will change their life. They're just seeing you. And sometimes they're seeing you out of context, right? If you're not building, like if your visibility efforts are not strategic and you're just being everywhere, then sure, they saw you here, they saw you there, they saw you somewhere else, but maybe the work that you're putting is not even like a path. So they're confused, right? So when your visibility is focused, it then creates trust and connection. But when it's scattered and you're just being in all the places, not building the trust, not building the connection. Yes, you're showing up. Yes, you're in all the places. Yes, you have a large volume of content output, but it's not going to translate to sales, right? Um, Social Media Examiner, is that what they called? Social Media Examiner. They did a study and they found that 63% of marketers are overwhelmed by trying to show up everywhere. And burnout kills creativity and consistency. When you're burnt out, you just don't want to show up. When you're burnt out, you can't be consistent. When you're burnt out, you struggle with the ideas of what to post. Great. Now I want you to stop for a second and ask yourself, are you part of that 63%? Are you one of those marketers who has reached a point where you're like, I'm just doing this, right? Hoping tomorrow will be a better day. Like I'm just gonna keep going, but man, I need a break. Right? Is that you? Now, what I want you to take away from this is that sustainable energy, sustainable strategy wins over hustle, right? So hustle culture, the whole show up, be in all the places, do all the things, eh, strategy, strategy instead. Let's build a visibility strategy instead, okay? So what can you do? How do you start building that strategy? How do you start building that breadcrumb trail so that you're actually leading people to you, leading people to the decision, which is to work with you, right? The goal is not to be everywhere. The goal is to be effective where it matters, right? So, how do we do that? First, choose the platforms where your people are. You need to understand who your audience is and where they're hanging out. What stage of life are they in? Where do they hang out? Um, if you have a Pinterest business profile, I believe that's the one that I have. Yep, if you have that one, when you pop into Pinterest, they actually will give you, or maybe that's just my homepage. Like I know algorithms give people different things. When I pop onto Pinterest, they have this like page, like this analytics where they will say that, hey, people who are using Pinterest are between this age and this age. People who are using Pinterest, right? Like, and they even break it down by the number of um, platform members that they have and the active members that they have. So they'll be like, of all of Pinterest, this is what people are saving. These are the pins that people are saving. These are the things that people are showing interest in. Of the active Pinterest users, these are the things that they're showing interest in. These are the things that they're saving. And that just gives you an idea, like, should you even be on Pinterest? Are your people there? Like, is your demographic there? Like your audience, like the people that you're trying to connect with, are they even on Pinterest, right? Or should you focus on what's this? I think it's called Blue Sky. Like, what's the new thing? I feel old right now. Anyhow, maybe your people are on the new thing, right? Maybe your people are on the new thing, and so you should focus on the new thing. Maybe your people are still on Facebook, right? Tried and true Facebook. Maybe they are on Instagram. Maybe they are on X, right? Where are your people? How are your people interacting with social media? If you are in the corporate space, your people are probably on LinkedIn, right? But again, it also depends on their stage, their interests. Maybe they're not on LinkedIn. Maybe they're on whatever platform, whatever other platform corporate people, do, right? But when you understand where your people are, you can choose your platform intentionally so that you are focusing your effort where your ideal client is. And once you have that traction going, then you can layer in all the other places where your stragglers are. So if we go back to like the yoga studio example, maybe instead of launching with 18 different classes, maybe they come into this space and they see that, hey, um, power yoga seems to be something that would really gain momentum in this community. So they start with power yoga, right? And they build momentum and they build their name and then they become like a trusted source, right? Now, if people are attending power yoga and they are loving the instructions and all of that, when this company maybe adds kid yoga, the power yoga people will be like, hey, I would actually like to do something with my kids, or I think this would be beneficial for my kids. So they'll sign their kids up, and now you have two classes, right? And more people. And then maybe the next thing is prenatal yoga, and they like because they've realized that a lot of their customers are dropping out of power yoga because now they're expecting and they can no longer keep up with power yoga. So then they start the prenatal yoga class, and that way they've already built trust, and the people who were doing power yoga and can no longer do power yoga because now they are expecting will definitely sign up for prenatal yoga because yes, please. And then they'll sign their kids up for kid yoga because yes, please. And suddenly they're adding to their list of offers while also having built the trust from their first offer, right? Maybe they move into a community and realize that of all the things that are in the community, like all the things that everybody is um, doing in the community, the one thing that would pair well with everything is meditation classes, meditative yoga. That wasn't coming out. Anyway, the one thing that would pair well is the meditative yoga. So instead of offering the power yoga, because people are already getting like all that heart rate pumping stuff from other things, instead they offer the meditative yoga, which pairs well with all the other classes that are happening. So people attend that, and then they also um attend, like they will like the community will see the benefit in attending whatever they're currently doing and adding meditative yoga into that. Does that make sense? So choose your platforms intentionally, focusing on like two spaces, right? And okay, let me say that again. Choose your core platforms intentionally. Focus on two or three spaces that your ideal clients are already spending their time. That way, you can build your authority through consistency. Okay? Now, the next thing that you want to do is to connect your content to your business goals, right? If you're just posting because posting, right? Posting because everywhere, because you want to be everywhere, you will get to burnout. Instead, what you want to do, like I said, you want to be moving people through the buyer journey. So every post that you put out there should be serving a purpose. Where is this, which person is this post um, directed at, right? What purpose is this post serving, right? And what stage of the buyer journey is this person in, so that you can start moving them through that journey, right? Through the journey, through all the steps, moving them closer to making the choice to work with you. Because that's the goal, right? The ultimate goal is to have people move through this journey, and every post should move them closer to making a decision to work with you, right? And how that works is either by building your authority, building trust, building connection, generating leads, like qualifying the people who are engaging with your content, right? Making the offer, actually making the offer to make the sale, right? showing them exactly what it is that you do or how it benefits them or why they should work with you, answering those questions, answering objectives. If your content is doing all of that, by the time someone comes into the DMs, you're not working on trying to convince people because your content has already built the foundation. You're just moving them to the next step. It's saying, hey, let's do the thing, right? How much is it? Like those are the questions that you're answering in the one-on-one sessions that you're having because your content has laid the foundation. It has done the work. Your content is being that breadcrumb path leading your audience into your space so that they become your clients, right? So remember, you want your content to connect. You want to build content that connects to your business goals so that every post serves a purpose to move people through the buyer journey towards making a decision to work with you. The third thing that you can do is align your visibility with your natural strengths, right? Now, what does this mean? If you love speaking, then like for all the girls who were told to um, stop making noise, right? Like all the kids who were labeled noisemaker in elementary, high school, hands up, that was me. I was the noisemaker. I was the talker. And look what I'm doing now. I talk for a living. I talk, 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 right? So align your visibility with your natural strengths. If you love talking, start a podcast and talk. Nobody's going to tell you to stop. Just talk, right? If you love to write, my husband is a writer. And so write the books, write the blogs, like write the articles, find spaces where you can show up in your I was going to say in your era, but that's not quite the word. Like show up in your visibility era, whatever. Like, show up as the person who you are. Show up in the places that you absolutely enjoy. Look at the smile that I get when I talk. I love talking. So align your visibility with your natural strengths so that you have the energy, the effort, the will to show up, right? The more that your content is aligned with the things that you're good at, the more you will show up, right? If I had to read 800 pages on a nonfiction something, I fall asleep. The lowest grades I ever got in high school were the subjects that had a lot of reading, because I hate reading. Like I do not retain information if it is um I do not retain facts if I have to read them. But if I watch them, right, like give me a video series and I will retain all that information, right? So you want to align your visibility with your natural strengths, the things that you are good at, right? And then find ways to your repurposing becomes the spaces where your audience might be good, right? Like, so here's my example. I love to talk. So podcast, video, that's my thing, right? But some of my audience might be readers instead of like watching or listening to a podcast. And then for them, you can then layer in a blog. But the blog is not your primary thing because I am not a writer, right? Or maybe you're not a writer, right? But then you add that on later for the stragglers. But you are building your content on the things that you are good at. Okay? So again, align your visibility with your natural strengths so that you show up more consistently in the things that you enjoy, and you will show up like you're going to enjoy your work, and therefore you will maintain that consistency. Okay. So what should you focus on this week? Like, what are some of the things that you can implement this week so that you can layer this into your strategy? Like, what can you do this week to start building your strategy? What are the steps, right? One, pick a primary and secondary platform. Pick one primary platform, one secondary platform. I strongly suggest that you do not have your eggs in one basket. Okay. So if you are going to pick two platforms, maybe you do Facebook and email, maybe you do YouTube and email, maybe you do Instagram and Pinterest, right? Don't do Facebook and Instagram. Like, not that you don't want to have Facebook and Instagram, but when you're starting out and when you're building your content base, you don't want your eggs in one basket, because if Meta decides they don't like you, then your Facebook and your Instagram, you're not having access to those, and then suddenly you're shut out, right? So I don't suggest you do one platform, because again, you can lose the platform. But I also strongly suggest that you don't stick to one company, right? So spread yourself out. Find where you are, find where you're strongest, find the things that you find the platforms that you would be good at, or the mediums that you would be good at: video, podcasting, blog post, writing, like, like short captions, long captions, reels, like short videos, long form videos. Like, find the thing that you are good at, the thing that you're comfortable with, and then start there, right? So pick your primary platform, your secondary platform. Pick your primary platform and your secondary platform and double down on those for the next 30 days and see if that will actually gain you more traction than trying to be everywhere. Okay? Then audit your last 5 posts and ask yourself, did they connect to your offers, or were they just filler content? Like, are you just posting quotes and affirmations, just so that there's something out there? Or are these posts directly linking to your offer in some way? Is there any intention in moving people through the buyer journey? And then the third thing, and this should be good for you, is drop one platform that drains you. Like, just give yourself permission to let go of this energy sucking thing that's just not driving any results. Okay? Pick one and let it go. Okay? So if the things that I've been sharing with you were hitting home and you're like, yes, then I'm asking you to take a picture of you watching this, listening to this, and pop it in your story so that we can also leave a breadcrumb trail to our fellow entrepreneurs so they can find more information that builds them up, okay? And then if you feel like you want to dive deeper, if you need a little extra help building your visibility strategy, if you have a few extra questions, DM the word call to me at The Present CEO and book your 20-minute call so that we can I can take a look and we can see if the visibility to sales blueprint may be the next step for you, because I go into all of this in depth in that program. That is it from me for today. Until next time, have a good one.